Hurricanes are one of the most powerful and deadly forces on Earth. With winds strong enough to rip buildings apart and storm surges that can swallow entire cities, survival often comes down to a matter of luck or preparation. Tonight, we dive into the most harrowing hurricane survival stories in history, stories of ordinary people caught in the storm of a lifetime, and how they defied the odds to make it out alive. And if you ever find yourself facing a hurricane, knowing what to do can mean the difference between life and death. Be sure to check out our other video on how to survive a hurricane, where we break down life-saving strategies to keep you and your loved ones safe. Link is in the description. Katrina wasn't just a hurricane, it was a nightmare that drowned an entire city. The Chaisson family had no idea their home would become their prison. Marie, it's still rising. We have nowhere left to go. Their only chance? Break through the roof. But with what? They had nothing but a small fire axe, barely enough to chip through solid wood. Swing after swing, their fate depended on John's strength. And then, finally, the wood splintered. They were stranded for 2 days. 2 days under the scorching sun, with no food, no water, and no hope. Until a boat appeared in the distance. They lived, but the city they knew was gone forever. When Hurricane Harvey struck, John McManus never expected to be fighting for his life in the darkness of a deadly flood. "John, I need to get out, now!" Tossed into the raging waters, he had only one chance: grab onto something, anything. The wind screamed in his ears, the rain pounded like bullets, but for 12 hours he held on. His muscles cramped, his fingers numbed, but he refused to let go. Exhausted, starving, but alive, John had beaten the storm. When Hurricane Sandy hit, Angela Meadows had no idea she would be bringing a new life into the world in the middle of a disaster. "Husband, the ambulance. It's not coming. We're on our own." No hospital, no doctor, only her husband and a neighbor with a flashlight and shaking hands. A miracle in the middle of the storm. When Hurricane Mitch hit, Miguel Ortega never stood a chance. The ocean swallowed his boat and nearly swallowed him. Lost in the raging waters miles from land, his only hope was a floating piece of wreckage. Sharks circling, but he wasn't their target. The storm had already left enough corpses floating in the sea. Miguel had cheated death, but the storm had taken thousands of others. September 20th, 2017. Hurricane Maria makes landfall, shredding Puerto Rico apart. Carlos and his family had prepared for storms before, but nothing could have prepared them for this. Sofia whispers, clutching her son, "Is our house strong enough?" Carlos, grim, looking at the ceiling shaking above them. "We're about to find out." The roof was gone. Their home, now a death trap. They had seconds to act. Huddled in the bathtub, they listened as their home was torn apart, walls collapsing, windows shattering. Then, the water came. Carlos, frantic, pushing against the door. "We have to get out, now!" Trapped in rising floodwaters, they faced the unthinkable, drowning in their own home. For 8 agonizing hours, they clung to the remnants of their home, battered by wind and rain. When the storm finally passed, the island was unrecognizable. Puerto Rico was left in ruins. They survived, but thousands didn't. The storm had claimed over 3,000 lives, the deadliest hurricane in Puerto Rico's history. One year later, another hurricane struck, Hurricane Florence. And for Sarah Barnes, what started as a normal drive home became a fight for survival. Sarah panicked. "No, no, no!" In seconds, her car became a trap. The water rose fast up to her knees, then her chest. She fumbled for her phone, but no service. Sarah, crying, gasping for breath. "I don't want to die! Not like this!" Her arms burned, her lungs screamed, but she had no choice. Break the window or drown. The current was strong, but she fought. Grabbing onto a floating tree branch, she held on for 4 hours. Firefighter yelling, "Stay still, we're coming!" Sarah had survived, but she would never forget what it felt like to look death in the eye. August 24th, 1992. Florida was about to face a nightmare. Hurricane Andrew, a Category 5 storm with 175 miles per hour winds, was on a collision course with Homestead. The Rodriguez family had no idea they were about to endure one of the worst storms in US history. Maria, it's just a storm. We'll be okay. Alex, the roof is gone. The storm ripped their home apart piece by piece. All they had left was a tiny bathroom, shaking violently around them. Then came the eye of the storm, a sudden eerie calm, but they knew the worst was only half over. They braced for round 2. For 6 more hours, they fought to stay alive as the storm finished what it started. They lost everything. But as Maria clutched her children, she whispered, "We still have each other," and that was enough to start again. October 10th, 2018. Hurricane Michael made landfall as a Category 5 beast, with 160 mile-per-hour winds and a 25-foot storm surge. James Riley thought he could ride it out. He was wrong. He was alone, in total darkness, in a raging ocean that used to be his neighborhood. His arms burned, his lungs screamed, but he kept going, mile after mile. By sunrise, rescuers arrived. James had survived the deadliest hurricane to hit the Florida Panhandle. August 17th, 1969. Hurricane Camille made landfall with 190 mile-per-hour winds, the strongest storm Mississippi had ever seen. The Thompsons thought their home was safe. They were wrong. They were trapped. The wind roared like a jet engine. The rain cut like knives. There was no escape. Had they waited seconds longer, they would have been gone. September 8th, 1900. The deadliest hurricane in US history strikes Galveston. A Category 4 storm with 15-foot waves. Annie had no idea that by morning, she'd be one of the few survivors. It wasn't enough. When the storm passed, the orphanage was gone. Over 6,000 people were dead, but against all odds, Annie lived. These stories are more than just survival. They are a testament to human resilience, courage, and the will to fight against impossible odds. Hurricanes are among the deadliest forces of nature, but even in their darkest moments, the human spirit prevails. If you enjoyed this video and want more real-life survival stories, subscribe to our channel, hit that like button, and share this video. Stay safe, stay prepared, and remember, when disaster strikes, it's survival that defines us.